Well, let's officially dive in, bro. We want to welcome you to the Brown Ballers podcast. Um, for those who don't know, this is DJ Mattz at DJ Mattz Music, a very up and coming, inspiring DJ doing some really dope stuff in the space, especially when it comes to Bollywood mashups. But we're gonna touch on that a little bit later. Mattz, you want to go full name Matthew, just so we know first?
Sure, yeah.
So Matthew,
Yes,
okay. So
yes.
give us a little background. Let's kick it off there. Give the guests and even me and G some context on you as an individual. You talked about being Indian, growing up in South Africa. Let's go back
Yes.
to the roots and give us some context there.
Well, I mean, firstly, thank you for having me on here. And well, diving into it, well, you know, obviously, like we are sort of how do I say, Indians in South Africa, a minority, but a minority with a big heart, do I say. But I'm sure, that's like Indians all around the world, we just have a good heart. But coming back to it that way, it's obviously like, okay, I was not born during the apartheid times. That was I think from about the 40s, 1940s till 1994. So I can't really speak about that, but that way I have obviously learned about like the some of the tough times that it has been here in South Africa. And it is encouraging from like where it was, that things do get better. And yeah,
No, that's amazing. So just to touch on that, because it's funny you mentioned you're not that old. How old are you right now in your DJ life?
well, age-wise, I'm 21,
Because
but I've
you're still
been
a very young man.
yes,
You're literally just getting
but
started.
exactly. But in the industry, well, I started off in 2015. Yeah, 2015.
So what first got you into the DJ world?
Well, it goes back to 2011 actually. One of my relatives from my dad's side, it was his wedding in, I think it was like mid 2011. So obviously, now you have a big party before the big event. And at that party where there was a DJ there, now me, I was how old? I think 10. And I was just fascinated by, the DJ. And to be honest, I think I must have been like the only one interested in what the DJ was doing. But do not ask me the DJ's name because I do not remember. So, but coming back to that though, that where, it was like, I wouldn't say an adrenaline rush, but when you're young, you're curious. And I don't know, I just was curious that day or that evening. And it was my auntie, the one that she saw me, I kept on looking, in the tent, right, where the party is going on. And she was like, come, I'll take you up to the DJ. And the DJ was, kind enough to give me his headphones and, to like listen to what he was doing. And yeah, it all started then on the DJing side. But at that time though, it was just, an idea. I didn't, you know, think that it'll, become what it is today.
I think it's actually a little bit
So
underrated. Sorry, I just want to say, G. I'm gonna flip it to you actually real quick, and then have you take over. I think it's underrated when people kind of take that time, especially when you're a young child. Like those small gestures go so far, and like that literally influenced basically the rest of your life. And you don't know this, but
Yes.
G also started off as G also is a DJ. He's done this for a while too. G, I just wanted to flip it to you and then have you take over. Do you have a similar story of when you first got into it?
I mean, mine is so different. Mine is just like COVID, hobbies, wanting to do something, when we're just stuck at home. But like what I wanted to ask you, Matthew, was it's really cool to hear how, your career is just starting in many ways, but you've had so much success. First South African DJ to play on a BBC on BBC the Asian network. Like, walk us through that. Like, how did that even happen? That's a big milestone.
You know, it's funny because it was through the mashups that I was putting out, um, that where it was last year, was it August or so? one of the producers from there reached out to me, and she was, she really liked what I was doing. And I think, yeah, it was just through people sharing my stuff that way it sort of got me that. And I mean, to be honest, to the day, like, still hasn't sunk in that I'm one of the first, well, the first South African DJs to play on there. It it feels like surreal.
It's a huge accomplishment for you.
Yes.
Where do you think people are discovering you the most? Is it TikTok, IG, SoundCloud? Like, where do you think that's happening? How did she find you?
Well, she messaged me on Instagram, I remember, but I'm guessing it's through TikTok, because that is where I've gotten, like, I'd say 99% of my following. It's been through there. So yeah, TikTok has really played a vital role in getting my, do I say, career started? Well, kick started more so, because things were sort of slow. But in 2020, when I don't even know, as a matter of fact, like how, like what idea came into my mind to start putting out mashups. And towards the ending of 2020, where I was like, I think there wasn't a day that went by where I wouldn't post at least one mashup. So yeah, that's how it has been.
No, just that's great. Obviously, TikTok is blowing up the last few years since COVID came.
Yes.
And a lot of people use it as a way to grow themselves, to get themselves out there, grow their personal brand. And obviously, music and DJs have honestly really taken over within that space. So
Yes.
you're clearly using it to grow your followers, to grow your personal brand, and get your music out there. What have you learned so far in the time you've been using TikTok as yourself as a DJ?
Well, with the app, that where sometimes people, I mean, it may sound a bit controversial what I'm about to say, that where they would make something that is kind of silly go viral, but someone that has spent hours trying to come up with something,
Yep.
I mean, I'm talking from personal experience, that
No,
where
so do
some of
we.
the stuff that I've done, that 200 views or so. I mean, not to say that I'm ungrateful or anything, but that where you'd expect something where you've taken your time, to be appreciated, but where someone has just, sat and
Yep.
yes, yeah, yeah. But
It-
it really has taken time though. But I am happy, with where I am, and yeah, I'll always be grateful for the people out there that have been supporting me, because I wouldn't be where I am sitting in front right now if it wasn't for them.
no, that makes sense. And it's funny because me and G talk about this too. Like on TikTok, the people who are growing the fastest or going the most viral are the ones that just do stuff. And it, like you said, it does get frustrating times when you're behind the keyboard
Exactly.
editing videos, spending hours,
Yes.
200-300 views, and then the person next to you did the same thing, 10 minutes of work,
And
and
then
it's like a
just,
million
yeah,
views. But that's just
exactly.
how social media and TikTok work, which is frustrating and crazy at the same time.
Well, yes, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, staying with TikTok, how I'm sure you've got a lot of inspiration from the platform. Is there other
Yes.
artists, DJs, any musicians that you found inspiration from or that you've tried to follow their path?
Well, inspiration, yes, I have come across, that where seeing their stuff has inspired me, and there are a handful of DJs. I mean, yeah.
So,
Any particular that you
yeah.
want to call out or name?
Uh, anyone in particular? I know Tesha, yes. I started following his stuff. When was it? Was it last year or so? I did a mashup of, obviously, Jalebi Baby. It was a mashup with one of Jay Sean's songs, and Jay Sean himself duetted it. And I mean, I never expected that. But yeah, it's got to be Tesha. I mean, he really has put in the work, and it's good seeing him prosper.
I just want to ask you guys something real quick, because you bring up a good point. Actually, you're 21, so you're a bit younger than me and G. Not that me and G are old, um, but do you guys have a first memory of Jay Sean song? Because for us growing up, Jay Sean was like the man. Gee, I'm assuming it may have
Yeah.
been similar for you too.
Yeah, similar vibes. Yeah.
Like Down and all of his hit tracks. So to see him come back and again
Yes.
to use TikTok as a platform is crazy because anyone can blow up on there.
Yes. I mean, well, that you mentioned that his song "Down." I mean, the local radio station there. I mean, saying milking it may be an understatement because growing up, that song used to be. I think almost every show that there was a radio jockey there, they used to play the song. I mean, not to say that the song is bad. I mean, it's one of part of my how do I say childhood. But
Yep.
yeah,
So you talked a lot about, using TikTok for growth, right? Um, how do you know when is the right time to drop a song? Like I've noticed for you, your Bollywood like Amapiano remixes, like you'll tease us. You'll be like, okay, this is the 30-second clip, and like the comments is loud. Everyone's like, when are you gonna drop the full version? And like sometimes it could be like a week, sometimes it could be a month. Like, how do you know when it's time to release the stuff?
I mean, well, that you mentioned the Bollywood Amapiano remix that I did, the one of Kaun Tujhe, that I firstly I never expected it to do, the numbers that it has done. But I set out a goal. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really reach it, but nonetheless, I was planning on releasing it before Diwali, something for Diwali.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's it sort of came at, it was a good time, like uh, I can't remember the phrase, to say, but it just all happened. It all just fell into place. And yeah, I still to this day can't believe, the numbers that it's done.
What's been your this just came to mind, sorry, because you've had so many really dope mashups. What's been your favorite mashup that you've made so far, if you could pick one?
Favorite mashup. I've done, well, I wouldn't really say it's my favorite, but the OK Janu and Heatwaves mashup that I've done,
Okay.
because that thing went viral on TikTok. Not TikTok, sorry, on Instagram. It went viral. I mean, the likes of uh, Hina Khan, who else was there was several other people that used it, and you know, I mean, I never expected that. It was I if I can recall like how it started to do well was these two girls from India made a dance trend to it, and I think that's how it went viral.
You know you've made it
Uh,
as an artist when dancers and people are using your track on TikTok. I think that's like a true testament when they find it good enough to start making dances too.
yes, I mean I've posted I think it's what like over 800 videos, and the amount like just scrolling, opening up and looking at the sound that where there'll be people either dancing to it or using it, as background music for like say I don't know like fashion or even like food too. I'm just sitting and thinking, like I am the one that did this, and I got no words. I got no words, honestly.
Take us through a little bit how you actually like how the mashups come about. Is there something that inspires you to do a certain song with another to mash it up? Like what's the process of you actually creating one?
At times it is that, or it'll just be like, how do I say, like out of the blue, I'd be listening to a song and then, something will click in my mind, like, oh, maybe if, take this song and put it together. And then I just sit and, do a rough idea of it first, see if it sounds good. And then will, obviously lay it down better and then post, export it and post it. And yeah,
So when it comes to like making this new age like Bollywood sound, right? Like why are you picking that? How did you get into it? What were some of the first sounds that you sampled and tried out? Like walk us through that.
well, I mean, number one, to be sort of different from the rest, you know,
Mhm.
because like listening to other people's stuff, there's, some of it sound like you can say one person made all of them. But, you know, the first ever Bollywood mashup that I put out, if I remember correctly, it was Illegal Weapon 2.0, and I think it was Tiger's Taste. So the instrumental of Tiger's Taste and the vocals of Illegal Weapon 2.0. And I think I threw in the Calabria, the dun, 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 dun. It just fitted well. So that is the first Bollywood mashup in 2020 that I can remember doing.
No, that's amazing. And then just staying with the matches for a second, as we go through your social media, even when we first discovered some of your music, it's not you in the videos.
Yes.
It's almost like a doppelganger, like other people. Is that where did that come from? Are those friends? Is that part of the marketing? Is that part of the branding?
Well, in terms of the visuals, I initially just used to, take my phone and, record the screen. But, I wanted to mix it up so where sort of moved away from that and I would take, like the music video, and I used to edit it on my phone. So take like, say if I started off with the English song transitioning into the, the Bollywood song, and edit the video to where it looks like that, obviously match it up, beat match it. And yeah, but, I mean, initially I never, how do I say, not, not didn't want to show my face, but, um,
Are you?
just,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was gonna say, like, are you a little camera shy? Because some people aren't. It's fine. Or
yes,
are we gonna see you come out soon as the face of this and with you in the videos
potentially, well,
potentially? Okay.
possibly,
So
possibly.
when you have a fire track, the next one, that's when we'll see you
Yes,
in the video.
most likely, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like a lot of these clips, you're like taking snippets of pretty famous moments. Like you're taking really viral clips from a boiler room, but it's your music on the back. When I saw those, I was thinking to myself, like, what's Matthew's goals as a DJ in the next, say, 5 years? Like, is the ultimate goal to get to a boiler room, or like that's like a silly goal? Like, what are you looking to do?
Well, I know I've just done that recently, like taking, as you mentioned, from either Boiler Room, or I think it was the first one that I used was from Fred again. To be honest, it
Yeah.
was just, how do I say, like, to mix up the, something different. I mean, yes, I know it's not me the one that's playing, but, you know, how do I say it? That way, yeah, just to make it look a bit, um, yeah, it's just a different visual to use, you
Well,
know.
it's a pretty live and poppin' visual, that's for sure.
Uh,
Have you ever done? This is probably a silly question. You probably have done. Have you ever done a bunch of parties in person where you're testing these mashups or playing them live?
Private gigs, not so much like playing in the club. But ever since 2020, I sort of took a hiatus from doing live. Well, I mean it's self-explanatory why, but I'm hoping, say maybe from next year, to get back into you know to doing gigs again, because I mean I used to get DMs from I think last year or so, people messaging me from the US or a couple other places, to come and play there. Now, obviously, the restrictions here in South Africa was still, there, where it only got lifted up. I think it was towards the ending of last year. So, well, speaking about that where the industry here really took a hit. I mean, I'm sure elsewhere, it also got hit pretty bad, but here, that where, you know, you'd see like a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, and then, it'd be taken away from you. That's where nowadays we're seeing clubs and stuff getting back on its feet, as well as DJs. It's very good to see that, because it it obviously, as the pandemic screwed everything up, there's no joke about
Yep.
that. But where, like, now, if you just were a DJ, you didn't make music that way. That's your livelihood that's, being taken away from you. So, to see them getting back to it is a really good thing to see.
So one of the, I guess, thoughts or stereotypes we're trying to squash on this pod is the idea that, like, Desi music is hard to find. Like, whether it's in South Africa or the UK, US, Canada, India, like it is, you hear Desi music in clubs all the time. Like, unfortunately, most of the time it's like that one song by Punjabi MC, but like
Yes.
that's starting to change, right? So here's my question for you, right? What would you say makes your Desi sound unique? Because like Bollywood mashups have been going on for a really long time. Like, what separates you from the rest of the guys out there doing this stuff?
It's more so with I'd say the combinations more so, because I mean, there's certain ones that I've done. Okay, they have been hit or miss. I'm not going to lie with that, but where um to be different, like with the Bollywood Amapiano remix that I've done, I haven't heard a lot of it. And to be honest, some of the stuff that I have heard though hasn't been that good. But to sort of push, because I mean, Amapiano has started blowing up. I've seen in the likes of Spain, you
Yep.
know, and to push this genre to, like, say, India, for example, it's that is what I would like to do, because I mean, I started off, okay, well, when I initially started off producing was hip hop, but I made the move to house music, and there was a local genre that I was producing, I think from about 2017 to 2019. And I was one of the few Indians to produce that sound, because it was a predominantly black sound, from the sort of townships. And I just fell in love with that sound, and that's where you know I was trying to push it, but where this Amapiano sort of, I wouldn't say threw it off its sort of like ended its career, but it just started to blow up more so than that sound. And you know to take that sound, as I mentioned, to another country, it's it's a good feeling, because as a South African, that where, to be honest, the genre initially never really got accepted by like house DJs or
Yes.
like hip hop DJs. And to sort of break that, it's a good feeling, because you don't want to be pushed aside for something. And I have experienced that, to be honest with you, from some local house DJs. And it's not a nice feeling, but you obviously push that one side and you keep on doing what you're doing.
So my prediction is I think Amapiano is going to be as big as reggaeton is. It's just a matter of time. I'm not sure
Exactly.
if you share that belief. And what are your thoughts on like cultural appropriation when it comes to this stuff, right? Like Amapiano stems from South Africa. Like when you
Yeah.
see other people taking that sound, like, is that cool? Is that rub you the wrong way? Like, it's interesting, right? How does that work for you?
Well, I mean, funny you bring that up, because like, you know, you can't beat a South African when it comes to Amapiano, because I've heard like, okay, yes,
Yeah.
in certain other African countries, there are some good stuff, but some of the attempts, you can't beat where it's from. And, because I understand, that they are trying, but you- rather go and seek help from the person where it's from, like get some advice and stuff, because I mean, it it's like a sort of funny feeling, but it is what it is. It is what it is.
So, what have you found is I'm talking about a universal way, right? So, to tie these multilingual mixes together, what have you found is the key ingredient to do that in a good way with your mashups?
Well, as with the Bolly Amapiano remixes that I've done, that where it was just an idea that I got, because it initially started off, well, the song started off as a drill remix, which I know is too, you know, like worlds apart. But I was like, you know what, let me try this. And I was doing a live earlier on TikTok, and where some people are commenting saying, "What's the next, you know, Bollywood
Mm.
Amapiano remix that you're doing and stuff?" And without giving too much away, I just had to say, I do have stuff on the way, because you have to create a sort of anticipation for it.
No, absolutely. That makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense.
Yeah, this whole wave of Bollywood Amapiano, I'm just like super excited to see what you have in the canister and what's coming out next. I mean, I think it's going to be huge.
Well, I will try my best, to make it to be as big as it can be. I mean, because as I mentioned, I have heard some stuff, and it wasn't, I mean, not to call myself a perfectionist or anything, but it wasn't like up to the standards that I thought it'll sound like.
You're the perfect guy to be the pioneer for the sound. You like understand both sides well. So like on the
Uh,
on the Desi side, like do you speak Hindi? Like what is that? What has that been like? And if not, like I think it's
to
really
be honest,
funny in clubs when people dance to reggaeton, but they don't know Spanish. Like, I think that's great. And I'm just wondering if that's the same case with like the
exactly.
Bollywood side of your music.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I do not speak Hindi.
Yep.
Um, I would like to learn it though, but currently I am not fluent in Hindi. But you know, s- speaking of that same remix, I saw. I think it was a white girl dancing to it, and a black girl as well. The same Amapiano remix that I've done, and I'm like, you know, not to say that it caught me by surprise, but I didn't expect that, because and yeah, it's like a surreal sort of feeling seeing that, because obviously I'm guessing they don't understand the words, right? But you know to see it though, but then again, as the saying goes, music is universal. It doesn't matter if you understand it or what. If it can make you move, don't hold back.
I'm curious, how many tracks do you work on? This is someone with no experience in the music world. How many tracks do you work on at a single time? Is it just one, or are you playing with different things, trying to bring them together?
I I have a bad habit of starting a project and then stopping it and then starting another project. So it can vary though. Like I would spend like a whole day working on something, or I can like start about 5 projects in one day and then forget about it. But but yeah, well, the time that I spend though, it varies, because say now when I want to post, the content onto TikTok, obviously just like one part, but I'd like work on say 80% of the whole track, and then just take that snippet out, the one that sounds best.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I got something else that's just come to my mind too. Growing up in South Africa, obviously heavy Bollywood Indian influence in you, and you are Indian. Is there a specific city that you would love to one day go and headline and play in India?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, Sunburn is,
Oh
one of
yeah.
the festivals that I would love to play at. I mean, I've seen the likes of Kashmir play there, Nuclear, I think Lost Stories as well.
Yep.
Seeing those guys, I mean, Kashmir has always been a massive influence for me, with the way he's brought in, like Indian instruments into electronic music.
That's like the perfect festival, honestly.
Yes.
Even I would love to go there. Go to Goa. Like, oh my God, that would be such a. We all share the same
Definitely.
vision, DJ Mattz. We all want to be there
Seriously.
somehow. So here's my last question for you, right? When should we expect the next Bollywood Amapiano remix? When we're thirsty, we're hungry for more. When are you gonna drop it?
You put me on the spot there, but I mean, uh, I don't know, maybe, well, the thing is that I will obviously come to the answer, but what I wanted to say was about these remixes where, you can't just take any Bollywood song and make it into a Amapiano remix. And the reason why I'm saying that is tempo, because you can't take a song that's like, I don't know, 140 and turn it into a 112 BPM remix.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it'll sound like, the vocals is dragged out. So, I mean, it's all about finding the right song. But coming back to the question that we're most likely next week, I'm
Oh,
crossing fingers I can get something out there next week.
so right away. So we're
Yeah.
looking forward to that, man. This has been great, honestly, getting to know you and kind of just learning about the story and journey so far. And before I get into my last question, I wanted to say this at the beginning, but I forgot. So you would message me on Instagram, kind of like, hey, like, I don't know much about basketball and sports. And I kind of like solaced you. I was like, hey, like, don't worry, that's not what this is about. So with Brown Ballers, like we're the home for South Asian athletes, but that word ballers, and that's why we have this podcast is for us to redefine what ballers means. It's musicians, entrepreneurs, artists, painters, DJs. It's so much more than an athlete. And obviously you epitomize a brown baller. So that's why, we're excited to have you on this podcast and to be able to share your story and journey with so many people.
And I would like to say it again, thank you so much for reaching out to me and giving me the opportunity to come on.
That's the
Of
beauty of
course.
social media right there, is it not, G?
Yeah, exactly.
Like TikTok and all the discovery we have. Like I'm happy we stumbled upon your music. I think the first one for me and G, I don't know if you have one. I think the first remix I saw was like the Dumb Out of Dumb. And I was like, yo, this is fire. And it's been on repeat. It was on repeat for me for so long.
I mean, that was one of the first remixes I did of the. I know other DJs have done, like the What If series, like say, like for that, for example, What If Dumb or Dumb was a tech house
Right.
song, and like, yeah, I mean that as well. When I initially posted it, it obviously took some time, like I think about a week or so, to obviously get onto the For You page. But yeah, I mean that idea. I don't know. I mean, my mind, with these remix ideas and stuff, it's like, I can't really put it into words how I get it because it just happens,
No,
So the
absolutely.
first ever post of the India Rising logo ever, like in history, had a DJ Matt song on the track. The Nonstop and Drop Top remix, which you put on YouTube. I remember I was at a
Yes.
friend's bachelor party in Denver, and I don't know, I was just like scrolling for music on a long drive, came across your profile, went through the YouTube library. That was a crazy remix. I specifically remember trying to YouTube to MP3 convert that and just get it in my library because that was a very strong song. That was my first DJ Matt's, I guess, experience. And yeah, like I said earlier, like it was the first song that we ever dropped for releasing the India Rising logo and like putting out social content. So like, despite meeting now, like we've been aware and you've been with us since the start, low key.
I mean, thank you for, using it. But, with that, if I remember correctly, I think it was a request because I used to do this, where I say, like comment, what you'd like me to do next. And I think someone mentioned, do a AP Dillon song with Drake's Nonstop. And, obviously it's scrolling, trying to see what works. And I came across, obviously, Drop Top and it worked. And that's what I posted it. And yeah, the amount of people that have used it, like some big TikTokers as well, to use it on the platform. And yeah, man,
I was gonna
it
say
sounds good.
you teased us for a long time with that one. I remember because the
I
20-second clip was out. I'm like, when is this guy gonna drop the full version? Like,
I
I need to
I
drop
know,
this
yes.
India Rising logo. Like, we need this song. like, um,
I, well, with with releasing stuff that way, I like for that. I think it was for my birthday. I think I released,
yeah, you were
the
like, we
mash,
have to hit a certain amount of likes or follows for my
Yeah.
birthday, right? It was that
uh,
was the whole thing. I remember
something
that.
like that. Yes. Um, but yeah, where it all just happened at all happened at once that way. to like sort of go back and see it now that it's like a whole how do I say, like mixed masala, trying to find where the initial start of it was. But yeah,
Totally. So
I actually
go
have one
ahead,
more
Nav.
thing I want to ask you. And
Yeah.
this just goes back to my obsession with the Dumb Auto Dumb remix. So, and it's just me being brutally honest. And it's because you don't put yourself in content, by the way. But because I was exposed to that so much, I just kept watching this song on repeat. And the guy in it was probably South African. I don't know who the guy actually was as the DJ. So for the longest time, I just thought that was you. I was like, oh, yo, like that's, like that's Matt. He's killing the remix.
that's Fred again from the UK, I think it is, where he did a boiler room set, and that thing went, like super viral. And I'm thinking, like, who is this guy? You know, honestly speaking, like, because I never heard of him before. But the funny thing is that I did hear one of his songs before, but I never knew who he was. But yeah, I just thought, it fitted well. I mean, the video, but obviously chopping and changing it, But yeah, hopefully soon, as I mentioned, I will start videoing myself for the content.
That's all I want, man. I just want a video of you on socials.
As I mentioned, I will do that soon.
So any advice, any parting words before we wrap things up? Tips for anybody following you? Any messages to give kind of, your fans?
Well, I would obviously like to say, thank you to everyone that has supported me. You know, People never really believed me, like when I was in school, that I, be at the place where I am, because it's funny that we're in school. I used to be sitting like sometimes at the back of the class on my laptop, like just working on music. I know that sounds, I'm not encouraging anyone else to do that, but you know, that if I, never did that, I don't think I'd be at the place that I am today, that we're, just sitting and working on my craft and, bettering myself, do I say. And yeah, just a big thanks to everyone.
Awesome. Well, the pleasure's been ours. I mean, we were looking forward to this episode for a while. So thanks, DJ Mattz, for coming on, sharing your story, walking us through Bollywood Amapiano and what that's going to do for the music scene. I'm pumped to see that track that you promised us next week. So we'll hold you to that. But on behalf of Brown Ballers, thanks to our partners at Tidal League. Thanks for coming on the pod, man. We're blessed to have you and really enjoyed this.
No, thank you guys so much. And Naveen, thank you. I mean, I can't remember what day it was where I woke up and I saw your message. I had to look at it twice because but thank you guys so much for this opportunity.
Appreciate you, man. We're excited to follow your journey, and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you
Take
so
care.
much,
Peace
man.
out, everybody. See ya. Until next time.